1.
Och där önskar jag er hjärtligt välkomna tillbaka till Studio Allsvenskan. Återigen fullsatt studio, det gillar vi verkligen. Hugo här, jag är här, Henke här. Men framförallt är Djurgårdens huvudtränare Jani Honkavaara på plats. Hjärtligt välkommen.
Tack.
Hur mår du?
Yeah, I feel really fine. Like it's the new training week starts, so really happy about the training today. And then also, of course, after a win, it was not our best game, but after a win, always happy.
Trivs du i Stockholm?
Absolutely. I live here in Östermalm, and it's a beautiful place. And Stockholm is like a really beautiful city. It's like been really nice to be here. And of course, the club is like my type of club, really passionate, and then really like looking forward to progress and develop.
Vi kommer ju som vanligt dundra igenom en faktaruta, ett karriärsegment och ett Djurgårdssegment och även lite lyssnarfrågor och så vidare. Så Hugo, vi tar väl vid i faktarutan direkt. Vi slösar ingen tid.
Ja, nej, men jag kan hugga den då direkt.
Ja,
jag gillar ju din assisterande tränare väldigt mycket, Christer Mattiasson. Och frågade honom här nu ganska nyligen alltså om ni har varit ute och tagit någon öl eller middag eller så. Det har ni inte. Då blir jag orolig. Varför har ni inte? När ska du bjuda ut honom på middag?
Now you talk so fast that I couldn't follow. You are asking about Christer, like, or how we end up together? Or?
Nej, när du ska bjuda ut på middag. När ska ni ta en öl och middag?
With Christer?
Ja,
exactly. That's a good question. Yeah. We haven't done it. There's of course Busse is always organizing us for us these nights when we group together and the team is together. But then. Yeah, maybe we just spoke that maybe after the season now, but then but I think Christer lives in Täby, but I know there's no invitations yet over there. so and he hasn't been in my apartment also here in the city, but then and then I've been I can't when I arrived to Djurgården and in Stockholm I got a lot of invitations to sauna, but I had never been in sauna in Sweden yet, so there's a sauna in my gym because I go to Nordic Wellness and there's a sauna over there, but I just check it like that there's no water inside because Finnish people they throw löyly to the stones and then apparently they don't do that in Sweden, but then that's something I missed, that I haven't been in sauna for ages.
Hur är de här kvällarna som Bosse anordnar som du nämnde lite snabbt där? De här, som Bosse anordnar när det är lite med laget eller lite festligheter, hur är de? Är det kul eller?
Yeah, it's nice. Bosse is like really nice person in the way that he's always thinking about how the team is feeling, and he's asking me a lot that how's the team feeling, and then we actually just had a party with the players that they have to actually. I have now seen actually that Albin Ekdal is he's a really good rapper. We had a rap battle, and it was Albin Ekdal, Keita Kosuki, and Nino Zugeli against it was, I think it was the young guys, Isak and then Ahmed and it was August Priske. So they had a rap battle, and then Albin was like he was destroying everyone in that one, and then it was really high class rap. I didn't know about that.
Did you know any of the songs?
They rap so like because we allowed that Keita Kosuki can rap in Japanese and Nino Zugeli in Slovenian, like that we allow that I said that the emotion will tell you what it's all about even though you don't understand the lyrics, but Albin, like
han var bäst, Albin.
Yeah, he was absolutely unbelievable, and he was really well prepared, and there was dancing and there was music. Music was actually really good, and then there was a bit of magic. Okay. We had four teams, like they had to perform in the night. We had a dinner, and then we had to we did the program. Cool. We had the girlfriends and wives and also the kids. But you know from the kids that the kids were like looking really closely to the rap battle because they knew that something good is going on, even though they didn't necessarily understand so much. But it was a fun night. But then. But Busse just pushed me to organize something, and that's what I normally do with the team.
Vad är de stora skillnaderna mellan svensk och finsk fotbollskultur förutom att rösta om vem som ska bli lagkapten?
Yeah, there's a lot of. I've been actually. Maybe I should change that selection of captain next year, but then let's see how it goes. But then there's big differences. Sweden is a football nation, and I can especially feel it here in Stockholm because it's crazy. Allsvenskan is so big and it's so famous and growing. And in Finland, you are just like hoping that people just find football a bit more because we are a bit under pressure from ice hockey. Even though the football is getting closer in Finland to ice hockey all the time, but then this is a really football nation. People are crazy about football, so that is the big difference for me. And people are also really enthusiastic in the stands when they are watching the game. I didn't know about that from Sweden. That I've been watching games over here, but I didn't know that they are like really like. Showing their emotions out there a lot, so that's something nice to see. And then of course football is I really like Swedish football because you have to earn every inch. You don't get anything from the referees because they allow quite tough football. I like it also. I like it that you have to like earn your spot and earn every inch and so you can go forward. So I think there's big differences, and the mentality is a bit like if you think about like us in Europe and now the current teams who did a quite good spell in Europe, the 4 Swedish teams over there. I like the mentality that of course we are going to win. The mentality is like that. And then in Finland, when they go Europe, it's more like how much we are going to lose. It's a bit, the mentality is a bit like that. Even though now my former team, KuPS, went to the Conference League, the league stage. So I was really happy for them and then for Finnish football also.
Den här tyckte jag var lite kul. Hur skiljer sig svensk mediebevakning mot den finska? Går det lite hand i hand med det du pratar om nu, intresset och så vidare? Är de hårda eller hur är de?
Yeah, it goes a bit like, were you asking about the media? Yeah, we don't have so much media. We have a couple of the biggest newspapers, they write about it a lot, but now I think that is a bit changing. There's a lot of podcasts also in Finland start to be from the highest level and also about Finnish football. So there's a lot more talk in general about football. So that is something I like also. But then I just worried we are never gonna catch Sweden. We are never gonna catch Sweden. So
säg inte det. En tidsfråga enligt mig.
But let's see how it goes. It's gradually developing, and then it is the first time actually now when KuPS went to the league stage in the Conference League. This is another club than HAK was doing it. It's been only done by HAK before. So now it's really good that we maybe have 2 really big teams. I hope that next year it's someone else going. So we need a bit more money to finish football, and that's also relating to media, that if we have more money, more interesting players, maybe better players in the league, the media will follow after that.
Henke, du har ju dundrat in lite quickfire-fråga här. Vill inte ta vid där?
Absolut. I Sverige kallar man för 5 snabba.
Ja.
Fatser eller Marabou?
Fatser förstås.
Lordi eller Loreen?
Lordi, I must. I'm still a bit. Wasn't it Loreen who won then Kärja in the? That was a shame. That was a shame. But I have to go with Lordi. It was unbelievable. I never thought Finland is gonna win Eurovision in my lifetime. That's for sure. Or go to the European Championship like we did with the national team. So that's absolutely Lordi.
Koskenkorva eller Absolut vodka?
That's a tricky one because I absolutely hate Koskenkorva. So I go with Absolut vodka. And we were spending the night when we went to play against Melby. We were actually in Aarhus. I think it's from Aarhus. Yeah. I heard about it.
Helsingfors eller Stockholm?
That's a tricky one. Stockholm, I have to say Stockholm. It's the feeling in Stockholm. I don't know, is it coming from the water? That water is everywhere. It's so nice here, like it's so beautiful. The streets are a bit wider, and of course, because I think Helsinki was a bit destroyed after in the war, so the buildings are a bit more older over here, and it's looking really nice. Especially if you ask now, you can ask Östermalm eller Södermalm.
Nästa är faktiskt Åland eller Gotland.
I never been in Gotland.
Det är finare, tror mig.
But then, so I have to go with. I've been in Åland because Maria Hans is playing there, and then. This is a bit shame to say that we every year hope that Mariehamn will relegate, so we don't have to travel there because it was 3 or 4 days to travel.
Är det också båt eller flyger man över?
Ja, båt.
Ja, det är det.
Varje gång, båt. So.
Stökigt också.
Yeah, so maybe I would go with Gotland even though I haven't been there.
Hoppas vi guter i Allsvenskan.
Ja, verkligen.
Stökiga resor då.
Ja.
Vissa lag hade gillat det, va? Så att säga.
Sent på säsongen. När det är avgjort.
Absolut.
Vi tar oss till karriärssegmentet och du spelade själv fotboll.
Ja.
Var du bra på fotboll? Hur bra?
I was really good average football player. I played mostly in the Finnish second level. I promoted with my team, and then I played 1 year in the highest level. And it was the time when there was a bit of transformation from amateur football to professional football. So I was never like actually fully professional. I was working at the same time when I played in the second level. But I love the pureness of amateur football because you have to be really motivated to do that. Because I was a teacher, I was mostly working when I was working in school from 8 to 8 to 3, and then 5 o'clock in the training. So and then you have a family at the same time. So it was already that time quite time consuming. So. But I played like 150 games in the second level, and I think I got in that 1 year like 10 games in the highest level. So I played this as a middle in the midfield. Mm-hmm. So, but then I actually retired quite early. I ended my career. I was like 32 or 31, and I started actually immediately coaching in the second team where I finished playing. And it was in the 4th level in Finland that time when I started to coach.
Vikingvit eller?
Yeah, Vikingit. Vikings, yeah,
okay.
Like in English. Vikingit from Eastern Helsinki. And then it was it's a quite rough area, and it was a bit like that kind of football also. But then it was actually really nice to start the coaching career over there. And then I was coaching 1 year in the second team in the 4th level, and then as the second and third year I was then the assistant coach of the first team of Vikingit. It was in the second level in Finland, in second like Superettan in Finland. So I was there for 2 years, and then I went to IFK Helsinki to be like, it was the 3rd level in that time, but then we promoted quite many times, so I ended up there.
När märkte du att när ville du satsa på att bli tränare liksom? Att du hade rätt mentalitet, att du hade rätt kvalitet och så vidare?
Yeah, I didn't like coaching was always that I was thinking that I want to be a coach. When I was a player, I was thinking that I want to be a coach, and my coach don't know anything and stuff like that. But then I realized really fast that I'm really poor in coaching, and it's a tough, difficult job. And then as a coach, it was basically learning. I grinded in the lower levels in Finland, and then I would maybe never come up in the highest level. But then I promoted with IFK Helsinki like 3 times to get to the highest level as a coach. So then we were suddenly there as a club who were totally unprepared to play in the highest level. So it was fun times for me, and it was a great club to be in because there was no sports director or no one who actually followed my job, so I could do mistakes and keep learning to be a better coach. And then I missed those times, and it was nice teams, also amateur players, coaching amateur players, and suddenly we were in the highest level and we were still amateur players, and it was nice mentality with the team that let's show to these professionals who we are. And then we did really well in the first year. Actually, we were 7th in the league then in the first year when we were right up. And
det är ju otroligt ju.
Ja.
Det ska inte kunna gå.
Yeah.
Det ska inte.
It's the lowest budget, and with the amateur players, and then it was tough. It was 33 games in that time in the Finnish league. and then basically Sunday arriving with the night train from the north, and then took a taxi to the school where I was working in. So it was tough times. Players did the same, and many of them were students in the university, and some of them have to work, and then at the same time HJK players probably just were having a massage or something like that. so it was tough times, but also you really learn to appreciate what we had.
Jag tänker vi hoppar redan nu till cups där du liksom, är det där du får ditt stora genombrott, eller hur skulle du beskriva den tiden?
Yeah, sort of. I got sacked from IFK 2016, and then I call it like quite lucky. Like, of course, it felt bad, but it was quite lucky for me because then I got a lot of approaches from different clubs, and then I actually I had to make a decision when I went to KuPS that I have to leave my job as a teacher and be like a full professional in that way. So I knew that they had a quite rich owner in KuPS, so I knew that they had the resources, but we basically had to build the club and the culture, because the training culture, they didn't invest in training, they invested always in the team. So then I got almost a full squad of coaches over there around me. So then it started to grow, and then I had a quite good team. But then they still haven't been in the top 3 in the last 30 years. They were like top 3 position like one time. So then we were second in the first season, and then third in the second season, and then we won the championship in my third season. And then I went back there again a couple of years later. But it was a really good club, because they really they got me there and they say that you now decide the staff, and we want you to do make this more, how do I say, coach oriented or a bit more professional in that way. And then of course there was bumps, and then bumps on the road. It was not so easy. It's just win. There was of course like ups and downs also in that club, but then it was a nice project, like ending that 2019 to win the championship. And for me, I only coached before went to KuPS. I coached only 1.5, almost 2 seasons in the league. So it was nice to feel trusted. And then of course because I did in IFK Helsinki, I had a low budget team, and they were a bit hoping that we would go low budget also when I arrived to KuPS. But then I said that's difficult. That's difficult if you want to win something. So of course we didn't have the biggest budget compared to HJK and many other teams. But then we gradually grow it, and we gradually build the team.
Skulle du säga att det var det som var nyckeln, att ni hela tiden uppgraderade spelare, att ni fick bättre och bättre? Eller hade du någon vision och process över träningskultur, och att ni fick till det, om du tar de 2 delarna mot varandra lite?
Yeah, it was a bit of both, because when I arrived there was not like a full-time even goalkeeper coach. So in those 3 years we got the full, let's say, coaching team. We didn't. The last year started, I didn't actually have an assistant coach when we started the season. So it was a bit had to justify myself to my bosses that I actually need this stuff, because other teams have it, and then we need to be doing this. And then it was also, I have really good base in the team. I had really good young players in the team, and then I found good players who were always training they were making the team better in the training, and we found really good players. And basically it was the end in 2019 when there was so many good players in the team, and when you watch the training you see that this can only end up well, how you see them behave in the training. So but it was and there's really good players who are still currently playing also in KuPS, but there's also some players who went abroad. There's Urho Nissilä he's now in Hungary, and then Ilmari Niskanen is now in England, and there's quite many players who eventually went abroad also after last season, and then but it's been a nice growth with the club, because I think now it has been 8 seasons in a row when they are in top 3, and every year we had the Euro games and everything. So it was it was nice to grow as a coach with the club.
Imponerande.
Du lämnar ju där en kortare period för SJK. Vad hände där?
Yeah. After the championship, I was deciding to almost have a break from the coaching. I educate myself or travel a bit to see other clubs, but then it's my hometown actually, SJK. Like they are from my hometown, Seinäjoki, and they were doing really poorly the previous years, even though they have nice stadium and quite good resources in many ways. So then they asked me, and then I just couldn't refuse, from my coaching in my hometown, that club. And then but it was pretty much like a shock to me that I had to start over. The training culture was really poor when I arrived, so it took a bit more time. Second year we got it really, really well. We ended up in second year we got third, and I think it's still what they haven't come over that after that. But we got the club in the better situation. But then they didn't use my option early enough, and then I decided that now I have the break. Actually, now I have the break, and then I went to work in the Finnish FA as a coach educator for that year. So after that 2021. So that's when I ended up in the Finnish FA.
Vad var det som fick dig att vilja ta en paus? Det känns, eller var det för att du ville få någon inspiration eller vad?
Yeah, it's Finnish football is the preseason is we start the preseason so early, and then the season ends pretty late. So it was always you had 3 weeks break after the season, and then you don't have really time to develop yourself. That's always something I search to do. So that's why I wanted to have these breaks, that I can actually take a bit distance to coaching, because I actually, when I got sacked 2016, I was having a three-month break from coaching, and I felt that I actually got better, because then you are thinking football not through some team, you think football through maybe easy to say objective eyes, that you take it. Because when I went back to 2017, when I started coaching Cups, and I noticed that I coached totally different way, if it makes sense. But then, because I was thinking myself that wow, actually I'm really good in coaching when I started again. And then when I actually was in Finnish FA as a coach educator, it was a nice job, because you could coach, I was in charge of the UEFA A license in Finland. So you get this, you get to talk with the young coaches or even the experienced coaches who are doing the license, and then you only think about football, not necessarily any through any team perspective. You watch it quite purely. You make it a bit more simple in your head. So it was a nice time, and then you get to travel. I was also scouting for the Finnish national team, and then I was traveling with the youth, elite youth A. I was traveling with them to meet Jurgården, and then I was with the coach educators. I was in Italy and scouting in Bosnia, and then Montenegro and stuff like that. So it was nice time. And then I actually do my job. I have to also visit a lot of coaches when they were doing their licenses to see how they work in their own environment, and that was also quite good education for me. And actually, there was women coaches I have to educate, and it was a really nice time. But then I sort of knew in the back of the head all the time that I will get back to coaching. And then Kups called me, was it April, in the end of April 23, and then I was first words were yes, I come. Yes, I come. So and it was funny, because in the course we talk about it, that the moment that, for example, that if you take over after somebody's sacked, that you have a ready team, and then you have to change maybe things or clarify things, that what would you actually do, and we spoke about it in the course. And then I just had to do it. So it was fun actually in many ways to experience it, to walk into a really silent room full of players whose coach were just sacked. It's quite something you can never prepare, because they were a bit everybody was really serious, and there was the old coaching team staff also in the same room. So that's like maybe the toughest points in my life, and then I was sort of prepared, but you never can prepare totally for that.
Men du var samtidigt assisterande tränare i landslaget. Det låter som att mycket jobb.
Det får ju aldrig ledigt.
Yeah. I was we started it 2024, so it was like last season in Finland. So I already when I signed the new contract with KuPS 2024, I said that after this season I won't be in KuPS, so I have to try something. I have to try something else once again to have a break or see if something comes out of out of Finland, because I was.
För det har funnits andra klubbar under tiden också utomlands som det har skrivits om. Alltså belgiska klubbar.
Yeah, I had it 2019. Royal Union Saint Louis, they contacted me. It was I was in my summer house in Finland. It was midnight summer, and then they contacted me, the sports director, via LinkedIn. So asking do I have an agent? I didn't have an agent, so I honestly thought that it was somebody's pranking me, or it's an agent who says that he's a sports director. But they were. It was a nice process actually to be interviewed by them, because they were in the second level in Belgium that time, and it's club owned by Brighton, and they use a lot of data, and their owner of the Belgium club is actually like a betting analyst. So he just said to me that your data from Finland is really good, so we've been following you. And then they had absolutely no doubts of hiring a Finnish coach. I was so surprised that I was asked them many times, "You really want me?" And I actually got the job, but then they asked me to sort of break my contract with KuPS, and I didn't want to do that. We were just about to start the Euro games, and we were just about to like fight about winning the championship, and they always trusted me, so I didn't want to do it. So I just I didn't have any regrets about it, but I just like trusted that something good will come up. But then after 2024 and 2023, because then now I have I coach in Veikkausliiga for 9 years, but in the last 7 years I've been there. I won out of 7 years I won 6 times. I was in top 3 and 1 Finnish Cup. I was thinking that I can't just keep doing this. I have to maybe search for something else. And the national team thing was a bit part of that they asked me for the assistant coach, and then I was thinking to stay in that job a bit longer, but then the process didn't go so well, and the head coach got sacked. And then also in that time, before the head coach got sacked, actually Djurgården job came up also that time. So
Bosse skrev på LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's a different story. But it was a contact from Bosse, but then it was also a nice process to be involved in that. I was really happy even that I just got to the interview, so I was really happy about that. But that connection.
Hur gick det till då? Var det FaceTime?
I was so good. I was so good in the interview. They had to hire me after that. But it was apparently it's so that because they scouted so many times Matias Siltanen, that they just saw my team playing so many times that they started to be interested in me. So that was sort of maybe the...
Så det var inte tvärtom? Det var inte att de kollade på dig men såg Siltanen?
Yeah, I should have said that. I should have said that actually, but then you know that how then they ask someone that, do you know this coach, and so on and so on. So then
references
sort of, and then and of course they ask Rasmus Schüller because he knows me from the national team and stuff like that. So then but it was also really nice to be with the national team, so it was a great experience. Like we played England, Wembley, and it's unbelievable games. Greece in Athens and stuff like that. So it's beautiful games also.
När Djurgården kontaktade dig då, hur började du kolla på Djurgården?
Yeah, I actually watched because the season always ended in Finland a bit earlier, so I always watch a lot of Allsvenskan after, because there's I more watch, like, I don't watch so much British football as people normally do. I watch Allsvenskan a lot. I watch every, like, relegation finals and all stuff like that. But we followed with my assistant coach, because my assistant coaching coach was Sixten Boström. So yeah, he has been in Örebro, and we followed with him the whole season a lot, Allsvenskan, different games, and then I of course followed Djurgården quite much, because there was the Finnish players. I had to scout them also for the national team, how they are doing over there, and then I asked, like, I called actually Rade after I got the invitation, that can you tell me something about the club, and then Rade told me basically the basic things, that it's a family club, it's very very proud of their tradition and who they are, like they call it pride of Stockholm, and so all things like that. So that's also the things I believe. So it was quite easy, but I just have to, like, I just had to show that I know the team, I understand the players, who they have, and then it was pretty much that, and then connect myself into the football what Djurgården is having, or to the players who they have. So that was my approach in the interview what I had. So just show connection and be really clear also that what I want, and then because that's I think the basic thing of a coach anyway.
Hur scoutar du det? För jag tänker när du är aktuell för jobbet som Djurgården, och du kanske ingår i process och så vidare, eller i massa intervjuer och så. Hur scoutar du? Har du något sätt som Jani Honkavaaras sätt att scouta på? Eller, alltså, hur börjar man? Börjar du liksom på den senaste matchen? Hur långt tillbaka går man? Tittar du träningsklipp? Eller,
I was like, I actually got the training clips, like, after I actually got the job, so then I was actually connected to Spela, so I could actually see the trainings a bit. But then I think it was that time when the first approach came, it was Djurgården just lost to Halmstad, I think it was that, and then I watched that game. It was a bit sad game, I think, the players, and they just changed the coach, and they were still searching a bit themselves, so it was a bit like seeing the structure and trying to find that what they are trying to do and what they are trying to aim, and then, but with Robban, it started to get better and better when he stabilized the starting lineup. So, and it was also difficult to see because most of the Finnish players didn't play, and then Robban stabilized the starting lineup. So I only got to then know to those players who were then currently playing, because they basically played the whole end of the season, and then there was like. I just tried to find some structures over there in that football, what I liked, and that's actually showed what those are the ones I showed actually in the interview, these couple of clips, that this is something I like, and this is what how I would approach the Djurgården football, or the football how we want to play it. So that was pretty much it. I didn't want to put it over. I didn't know everything about Djurgården, and I didn't even try to look like that I know everything. I have so much info and stuff like that. I just want to be clear, because I show the main lines, how I lead, how I coach, and how I want my team to play.
Och väl på plats i Djurgården, hur var det liksom i samtalen? Okej, vi måste ha en stab, det här är din spelartrupp. Hur var liksom din första period när allt skulle sätta sig?
Yeah, you mean the start of my...
Ja, men precis, när du kommer till Djurgården.
Yeah. Of course, we Busse had the big say always, of course, in that one, because he knew the players who were about to leave and who we maybe take in, and then we had to assess also the players who didn't get so much responsibility, and then there was actually a big squad when I arrived, like almost 25 players, because there was also like Khalifa was coming back, and players from loan came back, and then Theo came back, and so on and so on. There was actually a lot of players, and then there was the injured players, like Piotr was a long time injured in that time, so it was a rough start, because it was a short pre-season, and then I remember when we went to Spain for the camp, and then we had like 24 or was it like 23 players, and then in that time Siltanen arrived to Canary Islands, and then Marquez arrived there injured already, so I remember that it was tough because you at the same time you have short preseason, you need to stabilize something, but then there's a lot of changes, and then you have to find out, for example, that I didn't see much Albin Ekdal play before that because he was injured and then didn't have so much responsibility. So it was really tough. It was a tough start, and then it took a time, and I think it was like the Pafos home game when we really got it going. Like that was the game for me that yes, this process is actually going forward. So then you can actually see it. So that was a beautiful moment, and then I was just thinking that now it will just go from here. It will go smoothly from here, and we just develop and adjust things, because I was really happy how we looked in that time. And it was, of course, because there was the Euro games also, and we had a really nice ride and campaign over there. So it was amazing times, but then things gradually changed. But it was really short. I wanted actually to even start the preseason like 1 week almost earlier, but we couldn't do because players had a long season. They needed the 1 month break in that moment. So there was all these kind of questions. I just wanted to start working with the players and then to see where they are, because you really get to know the players when you actually coach them. Then you really see, and then your opinion or your idea of them still changes. They can surprise you. I didn't know Åslund at all. I saw him a bit playing in the last games, but when I saw him, I was like, wow, this is, for example, like Åsa, that he's a great player, and then you had to find a role for him, that because you had Gulliksen at the same time, and then you had 6 holding midfielders at the same time, and try to find also a structure where we can try to use the best to get the best out of the players.
Sen börjar skadorna komma.
Yeah.
Vad tänkte du då?
I think I was cursed. I was actually thinking, because I believe a bit in football gods, that there's a god in football also, that I was thinking that you have been so lucky maybe the last years in Finland that now the God is punishing you. So it was unbelievable when they started to come, that they just come absolutely to the wrong players who were a really big part of the process. Like it was the second game. It was also got injured in the preparation training. Totally out of nowhere. Nobody could see it coming, and it was bad luck.
Vem då, sa du?
Åslund.
Åslund.
Then Rade went in that game. The foot got a bit stuck to the pitch, and then got injured because of that. And there was such a bad luck. And then they just started to come. And then, of course, some of them were because we had to overload the players because they had to play in Europe and Allsvenskan at the same time. And like everything basically happened in that time. And then there was also like Aiko game when we lost Albin Ekdal, and then we lost Zacharias Savo, and then we lost Adam Stoll, and then like, of course something could have been avoided, but then those were also the times that we wanted to play sort of with the best team available. So for example, Adam Stoll, I was thinking a lot that he shouldn't be playing because he has played so much, but then we wanted to use him as a winger also because it's going to be physical, so we need him also in the set plays and everything, stuff like that. So but it was such a bad spell for us, and then after that it was basically like just minimizing the damages. So we played so many games with the broken teams, and players had to play even different wrong positions. So there was like Victor Barry was playing a winger against Halmstad, stuff like that. So it was tough times. I only had like one time when I got sacked in IFK Helsinki 2016. I had this similar amount of injuries. So and of course you look at yourself a bit and then what you do, but then something just couldn't be avoided, something maybe could have been avoided, but then the Euro games a bit made it difficult to avoid. So
Ni möter ju Chelsea. När du och Christer Mattiasson sätter sig ner och liksom ska förbereda en sån match, så tänker ni att men vi måste ju vinna den här matchen, såklart. Ja. Men det är Chelsea.
Yeah.
Ja, hur gör man då?
I still honestly think that if we would play against Chelsea with our best team, we would win the game. We would win the Chelsea. At least home, we would win that game. I'm proud of what my players did especially the home game. We win the shots, we win the XG. Clearly, there's not many teams who have done like over 2 goals of XG against Chelsea the whole season, even in the Premier League. So I was proud what we did with the broken team, and the guys were like showing really good mentality. But doing that and then fighting in Allsvenskan and then doing that against in Stamford Bridge, it was extremely tough. So we were a bit empty after that, but we really believed in ourselves in that in those games, even with the broken team. So it was basically, it was fun, like actually, because we were expecting Chelsea even in Stamford Bridge to even give it a bit of more rest to the key players what they have, but they didn't do it. So that was also a nice experience to be actually there. But what I remember from that game the most in Stamford Bridge is like the fans of us. Like it's unbelievable support what they showed in that. It was something because it came out of nowhere. I didn't know that there's so many fans over there, because they were asking me in the media before the game that how do you feel that only 2,500 tickets you got from for your fans, and I was like they will do a really good job even with those numbers, but then there was suddenly like 8,000 to 10,000 people, so it was unbelievable, and it was one of the nights I would remember forever. Even though we lost the game, I felt basically really good after the game. Seeing that connection with us and the fans.
Det var ju en utmanande vår som ni har varit inne på med alla skador. Känner du att ni fortfarande liksom är någonstans där ni behöver sota lite för? Alltså, ni måste fortfarande att det ligger kvar lite, att ni hade de skadorna under våren. Ni kunde inte få någon kontinuitet i träningsverksamheten. Eller liksom någonting som liksom fortfarande ligger kvar in på hösten nu, att så här, ni kunde inte sätta den kontinuiteten då, så det liksom har liksom blivit försenat och att det liksom påverkar än idag. Förstår du lite vad jag är inne på?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when we started after the summer break, it was like basically starting over. It was basically like starting over, because suddenly you get Stensson back, you get Schüller back, and then they bring actually so much quality in the training that we have to, like, the whole team has to do better. And then for some players you just think that can they find back, like for example Åslund and Fallenius, that can they find back what they had before the injuries. So, and we are still a bit suffering that we still a bit are searching the identity, because there's also been a lot of fuss around the team that is Gulliksen going, and then it's affecting also to the players, because they think that they are going and suddenly they are not going. It's affecting to your head, and then it's not easy to handle for the players. So there's been so much, like, how would I say, also like media rumors and stuff like that. Players, they are humans. They might lose the focus a bit. So and then it's a bit also as a coach that you have to think that, okay, if he goes, I have to start pushing this player in, exactly. And then if he doesn't go, it's like a bit like with the other player also. So it's extremely difficult. So and I'm honestly like I just hope that we just clear the things so we can keep going and decide that this is it now, and this is the team which will end the season, and we have these players. So it would be more clear also for me, because I don't want to think all the time that is Gulliksen or Togmag, are they able to focus in this game because they have something else around the corner. Because exactly. and I totally I say this with respect, because they are really good players and they have given us so much, but for them it's not easy to focus in these kind of moments also.
Hur tycker du de har hanterat det? Om vi tar dem som exempel då, Gulliksen och Tokmak, de har, som du säger, de har ju vetat om att något kan vara på G. Har de liksom varit professionella genom det hela, eller har det varit några problem, eller hur har de hanterat den situationen?
Tokmak is like he's experienced guys. He can handle it easier than Gulliksen. I spoke with Gulliksen and like many times during this period that because he's thinking about the transfer so much that it's difficult to sometimes focus in us, and then and because he had problems clearly to focus in the training, and we spoke about it, and he was apologizing many times that I understand I haven't been at my best, but I can focus in the game, and then it has started to affect to him because he's only human and he's a young guy. So we've been just trying to support him and also analyze that how ready he is and how focused he is to play, and that's also trusting the player, and I think he's done a good job for us, and then it hasn't been always his best games. I know that he can do better, but even though when he doesn't do like 100% best game, he's really good, has been really good player for us. So let's see how it goes, but I just wanted to be clear, but it's always difficult in these kind of moments for players to focus, and it's a bit affecting also to the others because the others are thinking that are they going or and can I tackle him because I take away his transfer or something like that. It's not easy. So it's been a handful, I can say that, to deal with that. But,
det är ju många spelare också. Det skrivs om Priska idag.
Ja.
Och Keita Kosugi måste ju vara Siltanen.
There's so many.
Theo Bergvall.
Rinne även.
There's been.
Men det är ju halva laget liksom.
Ja.
Hur är det som, för du är inne på det, alltså med att bygga kanske andra spelare som, för du vill ju veta vilka du ska kunna kunna satsa på mot hösten.
Busse updates me well in those, and he says that there's some kind of thing going on, but nothing like actual. And I normally also check with the player that are you all right, or is there happening something? And then players just give me an answer that it's cool, I can manage. I don't think it's gonna happen even, and so they don't get messed up from those. So but. I saw the list of, we know that who raise interest. We are proud of that our players are raising interest. But then, of course, you sort of hope that they don't go, and then you can like rely on them for the next end of the season. But then it's like I just like normally focus or think myself that some decisions are just club decisions. Like Busse is making the decisions eventually for the best of the club. So I just respect those decisions, and I do my job. So how can I do it? So that's pretty much how my approach, and it's a new situation for me that there's so many interest to so many players. But there's, for example, Keita Kosugi is like he's a warrior every training. So Japanese mentality, it's unbelievable. Exactly. So you don't have to worry about him. And Siltanen is really cool guy in many ways. That even though he's so young, he's really mature. And like he's always like, if it happens, it happens. But now I'm here. So.
För det blir ju också en större diskussion kring hur klubbars strategier är nu. Att man vill ha yngre spelare som blir mer säljbara så som marknaden ser ut idag. Och det känns som att den strategin har ju fler och fler klubbar i Allsvenskan. Så man som tränare måste då nästan vara beredd på att men jag har unga spelare som ska bli säljbara. Det här kommer vara en naturlig del av fotbollen framåt. Behöver du anpassa ditt ledarskap i det?
Yeah, I think it's you're absolutely right. That is the way football is. That there's more younger and younger players, but I think the competition or the focus has to be also in that moment that we have these players who are maybe going forward, but then we need really good supporting, like experienced players over there. They need to be the cohesion inside the team, that they are keeping the team together. And
vilka är det och ser?
You mean which players?
Ja.
Schüller, I think Noel Stensson, there's Makkan, Une, Miro, those the more experienced players. So then I would like to think that there's also like in every line there would be that kind of players, but I also those players they have to be super athletes also in the way that they take care of the culture in the training and the mentality in the training. The focus is in the right things, and then that is something we still have to work on. That our experienced players are like also showing that, because they are really good professionals. So I would even say that they could be more assholes sometimes to the young guys, to give them some hard love, because now I'm actually doing it quite much and all the coaches doing it, and sometimes they do it, but I would prefer that it's a bit tougher mentality in that way, because otherwise the young guys, they are like they can in the current world with the phones and media, they can handle it. So that is something where I think all the teams have to focus in the future, and also us, that we have to really think about it, that we have to raise players who understand what is important, and then...
Hur gör man det då? Är det liksom att vara tuff, alltså trycka till i tacklingar? Är det att få ner dem på jorden?
Vad betyder assholes? Liksom?
I think it's like even outside the pitch, like it's more even outside the pitch, like they have to do their routines, they have to prepare themselves to the training, eat, sleep well, and then live a good life. And
märker man stor skillnad på det nu, eller?
I think we are getting better in that in all the time, but then we have to remind like players all the time about it, and it's not so easy when we like clubs are doing good work and we are doing good work over there. We provide nutrition, like food. We have excellent food in Kaknäs and everything. That they should like. I appreciate it much, and maybe I think it in the wrong way, but I feel sometimes that players don't totally understand how well things are for them. That they should put a bit extra over there. They are not like spoiled brats or anything like that, but then we just have to remind them occasionally, and I like that. I like that if we get a culture that everybody's reminding them that. By the way, this is like excellent, but how the club is handling these things, that we have to also show from our side that we appreciate it by just like doing everything really well. So I think that is going to be when the younger players are coming in to all the Allsvenskan clubs. I think it's going to be a good approach, like in the future, and I like we have fines. That's a new thing also in Djurgården, that you actually have fines if you are late or.
Vem är högst upp på listan? Vem har högst fines?
I'm not actually but Isak Alemayehu has been late for a couple of times, like in a short moment, and we were really angry to him. But then it's. I'm not actually
sure.
Can
du också få fines?
Stensson is the. I can pay also, like if I fuck up, I pay the fines. But then I think Stensson is he's the one who is taking care of the list. I haven't checked it, because normally in all my teams players are handling that, so it's players' responsibility. That's how we want to grow also, that they understand that they have the responsibility to each other.
Han är inte ute och festa för de där pengarna, eller?
I promise that it's going to be a good trip after the season.
Precis, det går väl till lagkassan.
Ja. Får man hoppas. Ja. Fast det är så lite jag på det.
Hur involverade du i transferfönstret nu då, som tränare med spelare in?
Yeah,
ni har ju tagit in Andersson, som tycker jag verkar vara ett stort asshole. In a good way.
He's actually good that you mentioned. He's really competitive guy, and we like him a lot, that he's bringing a bit that kind of mentality also to the training, that he's really going all in every situation. And then but I'm really involved, and of course Busse and Pelle and Jonte are doing the raw work before they give me the options, so we go from there. So that's pretty much how we work, because there's a millions of players. They have to do a bit of the raw work. I sometimes I watch a lot of players, different players, and see, because they want to know which direction I want to go, and it's for me, it's not that simple that you just always say that this kind of player, because you have to think what you already have around it. So it has to fit to that. So it's actually really tough job. And then it's like Busse has those on the table, and then he also some point, like some player is available, but suddenly he's not available, and it's extremely difficult and reactive what Busse has to there do. So, but it's going well, and as you see that it's like something maybe is around the corner, and we are still a bit like seeing that what we need. But it might be that there's not so many players coming in, but we have to see a bit who's going out. So that is also big concern for Busse, that those things are happening. What we want there to be maybe happening. But it's quite stressful times. Like it was like when was it? Was it Saturday evening or something? Like Busse called me like 6 times after 9 o'clock in the evening. So and he was feeling really stressed that time when he called. So there's a lot of work, especially for him. So I don't worry about myself. I worry more about him.
För det är vad vi har hört också, att det här transferfönstret är kanske det jävligaste i Busses historia i Djurgården arbetsmässigt. Märks det av på honom?
You mean
att det är mycket att göra?
The workload.
The workload is the biggest so far in his career.
Yeah, it might be. This window is a bit like, because you have to think so much ahead, because you have to think about the next year's team also. So that makes it really difficult. That we have to a bit assess that who's maybe going after the season, and think ahead that what kind of players we want to get in, and then it can be easily that, because the transfers out are also doing a lot of job for him. But I think last spring or vad var det? Last season 24, July, August, I think that was quite busy for Busse also. There was a lot of transfers. Lucas Bergvall, not the least, but there was a lot of players coming in also that time. So there's been always happening a lot. But then I think we have to also aim to the moment that we don't have to be so reactive in the transfer windows, that we can actually take 1-2 players in and maybe one goes out, and that's it. Because that's how I have used to work, that all the successful teams, I also done decisions sometimes that we don't react anything in the transfer window, but that's really rare that it happens. But then, it has to be maybe like Busse was looking quite okay today when I saw it.
Då testar jag jättegärna en spelare från Veikkaus liga som jag misstänker att du har fortsatt väldigt bra koll på. Som ryktas till rivalen då, AIK. Men Axel Kouame från FC Inter.
Yeah.
Vad tycker du om honom som spelare?
He's a good player. We've been actually also following him because I follow the Finnish league. I know the players, and Kouame has had a nice sort of development. How would I say? He's really good in the final third. He finds the key passes in the final third. For me, he's maybe a bit stable in the other thirds of the game. He's defensively, he's like an African, quite hard in the 1-against-1s. But I last game what I saw from him against was it Ilves? He was actually pretty good over there. So I'm not surprised.
Number 10 player.
Yes, he's sort of like number 8, number 10. But then Inter football is quite special. It's honestly, I don't see him like, at least as current AIK football. He would have major difficulties in that one, so I don't know if
Djurgården football.
Maybe he could fit better over there, but we have so many good options over there that we were like sort of putting that name on the side. But he's a good player.
Ni ligger ju 8. Det finns ju en kravställan på Djurgården att man ska vara betydligt bättre än så. Är du självkritisk i det, eller pekar du på någonting annat?
Yeah, I'm really simple thing is that I want to win. I want to win something. So when I came to Djurgården, the clear idea was to win something, and I'm relatively happy with not necessarily with the position, but how we developed after the summer break, when we can really assess like how we done. I think we could have done after the summer break. We could have won a couple of games more, so then we would be maybe almost the best team after the summer break. Now I think we are third in the points after the summer break. So I'm relatively happy with this. I'm not happy with the position. I hate the fact that we lost a bit the best positions in the league in the spring with the injuries and stuff like that. But I still think that there's certain games when we could be better. There was also certain games what we should win just clearly, like even in the springtime. Even the Malmö first game, we should get better results from those. But then you just have to be then. Honestly, like I told my players also that we have played quite many draws, and to me, draw is always, it's not just good enough performance. That if you draw and if you draw a lot, that's for me, it's always average. That we have to aim for better. We have to aim for better, and then that is simply our target. We have to keep winning games. Our biggest winning strike is 2 games, and it has to be, if we want to be climbing up in the table or in the future to be better, we have to win consecutive games, and that's like simply what we haven't done, and I think we had a chance to do it. Like many times we really rarely we score more than, for example, our XGs in the game. It's really rarely that we go over. It's only like Degerfors and Häcken game that we really go over that. We should go always over. We should go over that what we have achieved, because when you see Melby, they go over in everything what they do.
They are a good team.
Yeah, they are a good team. So nothing away from them, but then that is something what you sometimes have to do. And then I think it's also that we need to have quality in goal scoring and using those moments a bit better when we are better.
En sak som jag har tänkt på under våren, som jag vet att många andra supportrar också tänkt på, är varför du spelade Tokmak som 9 och Priske som ytter. När vi ser nu skillnaden när du byter på dem.
Ja. That's a I don't like that simplification. No. It's not that simple, because then do you remember? It's a good question. It's a good question. I've been asked it actually many times, but it was in that time. Priske was not, for me. He was not showing it. He didn't show the quality what he had, and we actually used the Fallenius as a winger many times before Fallenius got injured, and then. Tokmak was a number 9, and then I think there was Oslund was more on the right. So it was not even a traditional. Oslund is not a winger, but we used him in that role. But then there was actually we actually used many times also Priske that time as a 9. He didn't do so well. But it was even after the break what we saw in the training, and we went according to that. We used against Norrköping. We used Tokmak as a 9. We created almost 3 goals worth of XG in that game. But then also Tokmak said to me that he maybe prefers to go now on the side. But we used him against Pafos and Malmö, and he was doing a really good job in those games. I think Tokmak played good games. If he would have scored in those what he should have scored, nobody would question it. But then I'm really happy for Priske, because it's been a long process with him also. And then sometimes we used him as a winger, because he actually he even now runs more when he plays as a winger than a striker, because he's really powerful, and many times he was really good for us. For example, against Rapid Wien, he was excellent winger. Pafos away game, he almost saved us in the end, and he almost scored in the end, and he changed the game when he came to play as a winger. So I don't see it so rigidly that you have to it's the only explanation. I think Priske also improved himself, and we work a lot with him that how he should actually run to the goal. And then now he's actually all the time in the right spot, and it's also a confidence question that when he started to score, he has now scored more, and now everything is quite easy for him. But I understand the question, but I actually really much like how Tokmak played as a striker, because he's such a smart player. He was clear threat. He understood what we did, and what he did better than Priske was that he gave support to our build-up and penetration in the right moment. The only minus was that he didn't fully run to the goal. That was his minus. What what actually Priske is doing really well at the moment. But then for me it's like normal how would I say, progress or development of the team. I actually, in Cups, I made my striker to play a right fullback. So that's even a bigger change. And he's still in that position now. He's still in that position now. And if he would be any younger, I would take him absolutely to Djurgården because he's absolutely brilliant over there. But he can play really well also as a striker. How old is he? He's 29 or so. Saku Savolainen, he's a great player.
Jag gillar succé där i Cups.
Ja.
Han är bra.
He's good, yeah.
Hur gör man nu för att de här sista 9 matcherna inte ska bli lite så här transportsträcka inför 2026, om du fattar vad jag menar med den tabellplatsen och positionen ni har nu?
We just have to aim for 9 wins. That's basically how we have to approach. We want to win every game, so that's pretty much our target, to be better and better. I didn't like at all like Bromma Poikkarna game, especially after we scored, we stopped totally playing and it was something else what we want to do. But that's how we simply want to approach. And then I think it's like when the transfer window closes, it's basically, for me, in my eyes, it's new start in many ways, that we have then the team set and this is then we can focus on the end of the season.
Hur stor trupp vill du ha? Många spelare vill du jobba med?
As a coach, easiest to manage. It's like 18 to 22 players. That's easiest to manage. The most difficult is what we've been having so many months is like 24 to 26 players. That's difficult to handle.
Jättejobbigt, ja.
Yeah, it's training wise. It's really difficult to.
Då är det spelare som får stå utanför.
Sometimes, yeah. And even today when we had 21, that's also sometimes that you have to put the players a bit side and it's not fun to do. Ideally it would be something like 18. Of course 18 like established players sort of that who are ready to play Allsvenskan, and those 4 players, 2 to 4 players could be the academy players. I would ideally want to do that because but it's not so easy in a club like Djurgården, a big club, to go with like a small squad. But that's always easy to handle. You get to know the players a bit better.
Klarar man Europaspel med 18 till 22?
Yeah, then in Europe you have to a bit fill it up, and that's like, I think that's what we were prepared to do, and the list was unbelievably difficult for Busse to handle because the players left from the list and we couldn't take more to we couldn't replace the players who left from the list. So for example, Sapovic and Vika, we couldn't replace those guys. And then when Dennis left and everything, there was left a lot of players and we couldn't replace them. So it was a dilemma for us.
Vilken sorts spelarprofil tycker du att ni saknar just nu?
That's a good question. I don't. At the moment, I'm really happy with the profiles we have now. With the current profile of Priske, how he's looking as a number 9, because number 9 is the most difficult position in football. So I like the profile he is now. He's a nice profile, but then actually the profile is coming how you show up on the pitch. But then
så blockat Salzburgs nummer i Busses telefon.
I honestly hope that it's not happening, but then I can understand August, like Red Bull teams are something like what players of course like always are interested in. So but I like the winger part what we have now like it's
Jeppe Ockels.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And then it's gonna be interesting to see in general like the midfield structure now, if Bo Hägglund gets a bit more space to really arrive. It's been tough start for him.
Vilken position ser du honom med?
I see him as a number 10. So I see him as a number 10. He's played all the positions like in his previous team, but I really see that he's a number 10. He's really clever in the final third.
Men har ni inte väldigt många 10 då?
We have like Osmund can play over there, and there's
du räknar bort Gulliksen, va?
Yeah. But there you have to also
Mikael Andersson can play there.
Yeah, he can play there. But he's I think Mika is too active too active to be in that position.
Du vill ha honom längre ner?
Yeah, maybe a bit lower because he's gonna go there anyway. So then you're losing one player.
Tror du att du kommer ändra då att inte spela med utan 2 åttor istället för och en 6a?
Yeah. Now I like to think that we can go with both. We have now the last 3 games have been in we have only one number 6 and then 2 number 8s. But then there's so many moments in the game that you have to bring sort of like a number 8 as a second number 6. So we are a bit learning that again because we use this as in the springtime a lot when Stenso was injured and then Rade was injured. So Siltanen was by himself over there and sometimes Albin was there and so on. So for me it's not like something which is written in the stone. I like 2 number 6s because when you have 2 number 6s, then your fullbacks can attack a bit more, and that is something we miss sometimes a bit because we have Adam, Stoll, Piotr, Theo are all profiles, Keita, they are all profiles who I want to attack more. And then when you are playing with 1 number 6, you are a bit like losing that, and you have to find different solutions and stuff like that. But ideally, I would I like really much when we played with 2 Cups, we played 4-2-2-2. I like that system a lot, so I like that. It's somewhere I would like to go. And
lite som De Serbi, eller? Lite som De Serbi.
Yeah. It's like something I enjoyed. But then the fullbacks are going all the time up and down, and they are really adjusting the height all the time. But then you have a really strong middle section.
Yep.
But then also you need also a keeper who can kick the ball behind the line, and that's part of the reason we've been also using now Rinne a bit more in the last games, that we want to find that ability also to our team.
Motrörelse med droppande anfallare och lappa in bakom.
Ja.
Hur ser du på målvaktssituationen nu när du är inne på det? Det är ju Manojlovic har väl stått majoriteten, men Rinne också lite grann då. Hur ser du på hela situationen?
I've been all the time saying that I'm really happy that we have 2 really good keepers. The fun part is, or the tricky part sometimes, is that they are totally different. So Rinne has certain qualities where he's clearly better than Philip, and then Philip has for example, he's really good ball stopper. He's bigger, so he's maybe a touch better in that one than Rinne is. But lately we've been using making just tactical decisions with that we want to use Rinne a bit more. And there's absolutely some games, like for example, guys who is pressing high, that we just we know that Rinne is gonna be the pick. And I just hope that we have that option still available also in the future. But of course, ideally, you can always wish that you have those things combined in one keeper. But for me,
kommer han inte spela i Allsvenskan?
That's actually true. Yeah. But then I think it's something that we have to have an eye on the future, that how do we want to approach this goalkeeper thing, because then many say that you have to have one keeper who is playing and the other one is sort of just a second keeper. I don't think that way, especially now in that situation. That I like the competitive part in the training, and then the ability that we can choose. And sometimes it's difficult for players to digest that. It's difficult for them to understand that now, or admit that, okay, maybe he's now better in this part or this kind of game. And then I just hope that in the future we can find that solidarity, but I understand totally guys are competitive, so they want to play always.
Ja, men Rinne värvades ju som ett statusnyförvärv, kan man väl nästan säga. Hur har han hanterat att bli bänkad? Det kan ju inte vara jättekul.
Nobody's enjoying that. They don't handle it well. But then, like I said before, I don't want them to be totally happy all the time. That they have to suffer sometimes and analyze themselves. That can I be better? And that's the only thing I want them to do. So we've been having a lot of talks, and Philip was really upset when I didn't put him to play against AIK, really upset, and then he was cramping for 3 days clearly after that, and now he started to smile again. And I like that. But then you have to make sure that after this kind of experience, you have to be better. You can feel sorry for yourself, and be worst, but that is what losers do. We have to be winners in this one.
Vi hoppar in i lyssnarfrågorna som vanligt, så rasslar det ju till ordentligt. Vi kommer definitivt inte hinna med alla, men det är många som är nyfikna på akademispelare och kanske menar att det inte är så många som får chansen. Vad säger du om det?
Yeah, I think it's true. We've been trying to give the chance, but it's actually, like I said earlier, when you have 20 to 24 players, and I actually have a couple of times said to our Busse and Pelle, because they want many times the academy players to come in, that I said that they don't have now even role in the training because we have so many players. The squad is so big, so we should do it more, but then the structure of the team should change a bit, so we have a bit space. I really think that they should have a path to be able to. I think they should be like third options or sometimes even second options if we really believe in them. So then if we want if let's say Alexander Andersson, for example, he has to, when he comes with us to train 26 in the summer when the school is ending, when he's coming over there, I think he should have a path, so he's actually second option to his position. So then he can actually jump in, because that's the way we can develop him. He doesn't develop by just training with us and sitting on the bench. He has to have an honest chance over there. So in that way we need to think about our structure, because the being on the bench in the training, it's not developing them.
Hur är Alexander Andersson i träning? Hur är han i träning, Alexander Andersson?
How he's
hur presterar han på träning?
He's fucking good. Simply as that, he's fucking good.
Är du liksom
If there would be no school, I would take him immediately.
Är du förvånad?
When he played, when we played after the break, we played against Bromma, and he came from the bench, and I think he was 15 or 16 that time. Maybe he just turned 16, but he changed the game. He changed the game as a young guy. He took us he made us more dangerous, and I was really impressed how he performed in that game. So he's going to be really good in the future. But then we need to have a spot open for him when he arrives, but it will have to. He has to be patient. But I can see also from other players, for example, how they support him and how they actually trust him, even though he's a young guy. They pass to him a bit more because they know that he can do good things with the ball. So you can always see that.
Många supportrar har frågor också om Zacharias Savo, som men lite undrar så här, vad tycker du att han behöver utveckla för att liksom bli bättre, starta oftare?
Yeah, I think it has been tough for Sake, as we call him. It's been tough for him because I think when he arrived, I like what I saw. He's super fast. He was super direct, and he was winning a lot of one-against-ones. The injury really hit him. It has been tough for him to come back. He struggled. He struggled a lot with the physical side after he came back. And then now, especially when Priske is in the flow, it has been difficult to give him the chance. And I think he's that kind of player that also he will get better when the more responsibility he gets. But then now it's difficult for him. It's going to be tough end of the season for him if when Priske is staying and then Priske is performing like that. So he will get only few minutes from there and there. But then he's improving all the time. But to honestly say that he hasn't been maybe he hasn't reached that level where he was when he arrived. He lost something a bit in the 2 months when he was away, but he was actually working really hard his physical side, because that was the only minus when he arrived, that because he had only like substitution minutes in Cyprus, so he was not fully fit. He was not match fit, and he worked hard in the summer break to get that a bit higher. And he's a strong, like really, even for my eyes, like too muscular player. He's like he could be a bit thinner in many ways, but then he's working hard. And then with him, it's the same thing as with Priske, that we are focusing on his like movement as a striker, that how he should actually run to the goal. I'm pretty sure that it will happen the same way, that if he starts to score, he will keep scoring. But then, is it going to happen this season? Most likely not, because if Priske keeps doing that, it's going to be difficult. But I understand the question, because maybe fans are thinking that he's been a disappointment, but I think he's been having a tough road like until so far.
Det kostade mycket pengar också.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand that we want everybody to perform, especially if we buy them, but then it doesn't always go like that.
Hur tänker du med att ha din lagkapten på bänken?
Yeah, that's we haven't really think about it that way, that I couldn't put him on the bench because he's the captain. I think Une is still the captain in the training, and then and the team. But then sometimes things go like this, because Miro has scored and assisted goals, so we just keep on continuing with that. And then there was a couple of games when we decided to sort of switch. It was after Elfsborg game, and then we decided that okay, we need Miro because we need a bit more set play power, for example, and stuff like that. Because Miro is the best set play player out of our center backs. He can hit the ball, he can get the first contacts more than the other two. So it was a bit like that. And then we actually, when Miro executed that, he a bit took the spot. And I think Jakob, I know that he's not happy, but he has handled it well. And he's training well. And then I'm really thinking that should I put him to start against Norrköping, because there's certain things he does well what we need in that game.
En hel del frågor har vi ju redan avvärjt, men har vi redan kört under tiden vi har poddat. Jag tänker i alla fall en sista från min del. Viking Line eller Silja?
I've been traveling so much with Viking Line because it's always been, for some reason, maybe it's cheaper. I've been traveling with Viking Line with the team and stuff like that, especially to this fucking Mariehamn. I like the place. Like they will call me from Mariehamn. My friend is there, the sports director over there. But then I want them to stay up, of course. But then I would maybe even say Silja now. Like I'm a bit bored to Viking Line.
Jag hoppas Djurgården bokar träningsmatch mot Mariehamn.
Det är B-hytt under däck.
We were just talking with Mariehamn a lot because they wanted to loan a couple of our players, and we were thinking it's a nice connection actually. I know I know the sports director, and then Joel Rides just spoke a lot with them, and then we were thinking maybe the juniors could maybe get some experience over there. It could be actually a good connection. It's a nice place, beautiful place, especially in the summer.
Ja, vi hade kunnat surra på hur länge till som helst, känns det som. Tack så jättemycket för att du tog din tid att komma hit. Och så hörs vi igen i podden imorgon.
Det gör vi.
Ciao.
Ciao.